transfer, and they were as he said they would be. That's why you got to watch out and pay attention when your pastor calls you up or when the apostle calls you up and lays hands. You got to have an ear to hear what they're saying and speaking over your life, because it's going to be as they said it would be. You need to keep yourself in a position. Every time it look like pastor's going to lay hands, you ought to be right there. Every time it look like apostles don't lay hands often, but when he gets in that mold, you got to be right there to receive the impartation. I know it don't look right. I know you don't feel, you might say, I didn't feel anything, but there's something that happens when a person that has authority over you either speak into your life or lay hands on you. Something is transferred, something is imparted, and if you're not resistant, it can shift your whole life. Jacob lays hands. Not only does Jacob lays hands, but when Moses is trying to take care of 3 million people out in the middle of nowhere, and his father-in-law Jethro says, Moses, you're going to kill yourself and wear the people out, stand up all night long trying to judge all of these people. They bringing all these matters to you. He said, go and get 70 of the men that are full of faith and that are wise and that have understanding, and then you take and you lay your hands on them and take up the spirit that is on you and put it on them. And Moses gathered 70 men that was full of faith and that was full of wisdom, that could judge matters, and he laid his hands. Okay. All right. Let's move on up to the New Testament, because some of y'all don't like the Old Testament. All right, New Testament. Watch this. Paul has Timothy. And Paul, in first chapter of Timothy, in 1 Timothy, he lays hands on him, and he says that Timothy was anointed and was called of God by prophecy and by the laying on of hands. But then when you get into 2 Timothy, Timothy had grown weary as a young pastor, and he was frustrated with all the challenges. And Paul said, Timothy, I challenge you to stir up the gift of God. Watch this. It was the gift of who? God. It was the gift of who? God. Now, how did he get it? He said, stir up the gift of God that is in you, that was given you, watch this, by the laying on of my hands. He said, the gift that you have, you didn't get by osmosis. You didn't fast for it. You didn't pray for it. You didn't consecrate for it. He said, I laid my hands, and the gift that was operating in me was now on you. This is why you got to be so careful, because so many times people become so heavily minded that they're no earthly good. They only want to focus on Jesus, and he is the chief concern. He is the center of our joy. He is the object of our affection. But in the kingdom order, God has established fivefold ministry to be a part of your life and to be a part of your maturation. You can't just bypass God's order talking about, I'm going straight to Jesus. Jesus even said, he that receiveth those who I send receiveth me, and those that receive me receive my Father. There is process. It don't start with Jesus. It starts here at the apostle, the prophet, the evangelist, the pastor, and the teacher. And they represent the Godhead in your life. Paul said,